on today?
Just the basics, DotLoop.
Basics, okay.
Yeah.
I've been using it for a while, so I'm pretty familiar with it. I wasn't know for sure if you'd get in advanced or not, so, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm not excited.
Hello. How are you doing?
How are you?
Doing good. Are you in this office or?
I'm at the Rushville office, but I just came over here. They wanted me to teach a DotLoop class over here.
Awesome, perfect. It's great to meet you. Feel like I don't use DotLoop to its full ability, I guess, so that's why I was like, I'm gonna come check out and see what's going on.
I know a lot of people use it for a lot of different things. I mean, I used it for when I first started, but it
Right.
was. Each office does it a little bit differently. When I first started, we did a lot what we do now, just submit it for compliance, we did just called green sheets. But then when I went over, there was another code, we used Capital Partners, we would use command for compliance, so we wouldn't have to submit
Right,
compliance for DotLoop. So, when we merged, a lot of the agents were a little bit newer at Excel. So they were like, oh, what do we, this is different than command, and so it was just kind of giving a little bit of a refresher.
yeah, awesome.
There is a sign-in sheet in the back. I don't know if you sign in or not. Not sure. where everybody's at with this. It's pretty informal, like I'm not really know where other people are at. I know you've asked a question about merging loops. There is a way to merge them as long as there's not anybody assigned to it yet, as far as tasks and that kind of thing, which I've never had success with before. It always just make prompts that it would not. I'll just give you an example when we get to that point. Hi. So for starters, hi. Hi, everybody. So I know when we came over, we merged our offices, and then they were actually, some of the agents had 2 profiles. So I just wanted to start out by saying, the account to make the capital or, Greater Columbus profile as their default profile. I work on a team, and on my team, some of the agents aren't as active in DotLoop as I am, so it's kind of a little bit where you have to go back and forth between the profiles and move the documents over to the default Greater Columbus profile. And then to start out, also under the profile section, just kind of make sure all the information's there. So all your personal information between the brokerage license number, the office ID number, obviously the agent license number, because a lot of this stuff is going to autofill over to your documents on your templates when you write a contract. So you want to have as much information there as possible, so you're not going back and redoing it every time that you write an offer. And then under the account settings, it's where you can add and change a phone number, make sure you have the address on there. Just click save at the bottom, you can make the changes.
For that one, does it have a spot for like, I think it's like license number and office ID number, like I know a lot of it auto populates, but for some reason there's like fields down at the bottom of the offer, if it doesn't, and you have to type them in every time. Is that the case for other people?
Yeah, so when I noticed that too, I created on my template. You can go into, you can kind of create a new folder. So you want to do your buyer folder. And you can add the purchase contract on there. And then save it as a template.
I guess I did templates, but I didn't think about just uploading the standard information in there before, so thanks.
So on the templates though, like I don't know if you guys know that you can create your own folders on the side. So you can add a new folder, like I just did the buyer folder. And then within that buyer folder, I want to add, the buyer rep form, just a purchase contract, if it's not already on your templates with the correct information. Our fishing stand. Any other forms that you want to add to that list, you can copy to. And then you can draw your template and then put it into your personal folder that you just created. Copy it in there. And then you can do this again for like a listing folder and all your listing forms. And when you go to your loops, create a new loop. And you can either copy the MLS number or you can type in the address and it already searches. All I like to add was the code. Which doesn't autofill until you add the zip code. And then you have to click your purchase template or listing template. And then I like to do my statuses, so it's always a pre-listing. Sometimes you already know the list price, sometimes you don't. You can view your loop. And so for the agents that are from Excel that are from the Westerville location, this is kind of new because we didn't have the placeholders before. So what I am currently doing is I'm just adding all of my documents through my templates. Say it's a buyer or a listing folder. I select all of the forms that I need. Copy it. And from here, I need the agent. And then add a person, so I'm gonna add. Russell, her name, her email. Color. And from here. Should be able to autofill. So you can open all of those forms. It should autofill all of the information that you have saved. And then also add people from this section as well. So you can add another person, add a person. And it should autofill. And put your personal ID number, any other information that you have. Autofill. Scroll down. Some of these are not. You know, there's a lot of just add signature, add a text. Here. Then as you're filling it out, obviously you're checking the boxes and doing all that information. Save and then share. Then if you feel like you forgot something, you can exit out, but it's already saved. You can go back. And you save. And it goes back to a loop. And then once you are in contract, I always add the lender, the title person. I always add the names of the buyers or the sellers. I always add the co-op agent. And then once I get a document that's ready to send out, I'll just click share. And I'll share it to whoever I needed to share it to. And I always click the little button. Sometimes it's hard to see, sometimes it's hard to remember. You have to attach the PDF to the email. So it'll go to the person's email with an attachment of the PDF on the bottom of the email. I just think it's easier to do it that way. Because a lot of times there are multiple loops that you get. Like we were just talking about a little bit ago. I have for my a listing, I have two loops. One loop is the other agents and the other loop is mine. I always mark something to identify that I know which one is mine. So I put a big X on it. So I know that one is mine, loop that I'm working in.
Do we know why that happens? I'm just curious.
Because you start a loop and you share it, the documents to the other agent. The agent has a loop already created and they share their loop with you. So sometimes, I mean, that's why you get double loops. So you can either go in and you could archive that loop as long as you have all the information, which I don't recommend doing until after the transaction is done. Just because it may mess up something on their end. For instance, like this is my listing, but this is also the other agents, it's their purchase. their buyer, so they have, it's their purchase, so I like to label all my loops as what type it is, so I know this is my listing, it's labeled with the X. But it's also, you know, I already have all the information right there, it's my listing, it's on the contract. The purchase price, the closing date. And then. For a buyer, you can click on. You can try to merge them, I've never had any success with this. So on the bottom of where you click where the address is, you can click merge loop. And you just click which one you want it to merge with. And then this prompt will always come up and it will ask you, are you sure? Because it can be undone. You'll click continue, but this always pops up every time I ever try to do this, and it says it cannot be undone. You can only merge loops and loops are included in the same project or deal. Click continue, but it will not let me do it, unfortunately, and I don't know why. Because it says it's going to disrupt the experience of other people in the loop. So it may work in the beginning, before you assign anything to anybody. But I just don't understand why it won't let me do it. I can research it some more and figure it out, but I just never had any success with it, yeah.
So when you have multiple loops and multiple agents, say you get multiple offers, and you try to consolidate loops, can the other agents see your file, see your docs?
Only if you share that with them. They cannot see anything unless, like, I'm on a team, and I would show you how I kind of operate through DotLoop. You can add a person on here. I work for the Jansen Associates. Joe Jansen is my team leader. So for instance, right here, it says on my team. That's because I share all of my loops with him. And let's say, for instance, I want to add, like this is another person, here's a little box to add to my team. So once you send them the invitation to add to your team, they have full access and you can see everything in your loop.
So if you if you write an offer and it goes nowhere, but you still got this loop hanging out in limbo, can you delete that loop?
You can't delete it, but you can archive it. So you can click on. You can click on. Right here, the little archive. You can unarchive it too. So if you have all of these loops and like you said, you have multiple offers and all of these loops and finally they're in contract with somebody and you want to get rid of all those extra loops, you can archive those. And then if you wanted to make sure that you have all of the offers, you can click on that document. You can make a copy to that loop that you wanted to make to get it transferred over to. So I wanted to go over to my this one, and you can click whichever folder you want it to go to. And copy it over. And that document is now in this loop. The folder that I clicked it over to. And then when you go to search for something, like say, you want to hide all the archive ones, so they're not filling up space on your DotLoop. You can click only archive, or you can click on all of your loops. That will make sure, I mean, that will pop up all of the loops, even the ones that you've already archived. I like to hide all my archives, so it's just not logging up a bunch of space. So just whatever preference you want. And then over here on the right hand side, you can kind of click on the view you want it to look like. List view, compact view. Grid view. Am I going too fast for anybody? And then do you typically go through, I mean, sometimes you don't have the client's information in command yet. Sometimes you can go through command, create the opportunity through command and start your loop up that way.
You can use mine if you want, it's right there in the drop down,
Okay,
go ahead.
that's it.
Are you trying to get into command or Mike AW?
Man,
No, it might be my old password. I'll get the password right.
okay. I don't know, I can try one more.
Alright. It's on my.
Sorry, guys.
I can hold it, it'll do this.
What's your log? Now I'm gonna have to log in my email to verify and make sure.
I got it if you need it.
Okay.
I was partly right.
Well, email verification.
Mhm.
That would have probably not. It's just.
At least they give me text.
Maybe. But it's frustrating when people that work on a team, you know, you're, I mean, that, but, yeah.
Is there a spell check feature on this thing?
On DotLoop?
Yeah.
There is.
Where's that at?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, mine gets underlined red. If I miss, you know, something, it's not spelled right. Like when you're in Word or something.
It is not on my thing.
No. Let me double check and see. So if you're like adding something in like an addendum or. Do you work mainly on like a desktop or a laptop or?
Desktop. I usually work in Word and then transfer it over, and then when you transfer it over and save it, all your commas turn into question marks.
Really?
Also, I've been trying to ask Rachel about trying to just get like. I know we've got how many offices now, so there's Delaware, Licking, and Franklin and Fairfield. But when you open up like, hey, I'm gonna take a listing. Get like a folder that has all the listings we need for Franklin County, or Delaware County or Licking County. And open it up and as, you know what I'm saying, I mean, that would be cool just to be able to try and.
So like a
Open up one
folder
loop
like-
or open up one set of office files that we can transfer into the loop and. The placeholders just, I don't even know why we have placeholders.
I don't know, that's just the way they've always done it, but you can copy over the listing packet or buyer's packet that has everything.
It doesn't,
It
doesn't.
doesn't have everything.
Well, you would like,
It's kind of
create
why I'm
your
here
own
because
folder.
there's so many different things that. It's like the phone number fills in by itself on a 740 number, you go. We're not 740.
So on your templates, is that what you're saying, like on a document?
Yeah, like if you open up an office, if you have take a template in from one of the office, like. Keller Williams Greater Columbus folder, oftentimes that information is already if you do a automatic fill or whatever, fill in. The phone number comes up with 740.
Is that because of what's saved under your profile or what's saved on the document that's in the template?
It's
that
on
you're
the
trying-
document, the template.
Okay. You could. Make a copy. To a
That's the
folder,
thing, I mean, we can do a lot of stuff that just takes time,
yeah,
and it would be nice to not have to take time, it would be nice just to have
already folder was set, everything on there.
yeah, there you go, one for Licking, one for Franklin, one for Delaware, Fairfield. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult to do that.
Right. I mean, the easiest way around it is to initially, it might take some time to get those documents over there, you can create your own folder, Licking County docs. And then, copy the documents that you want over to that folder that you just created.
Correct, but then if there's updated docs, then you gotta update those files.
Mhm.
It would be nice just to have, there's updated docs, have them updated in the master template.
Yeah,
Where you're not having to change, take the time to update your own files.
a lot of times, the forms that you're talking about, would it be under the Columbus Interactive, the board forms? Those
For
are always
instance,
pretty much
this morning I went to get the, shoot, can't think of the name of the form right now, darn it, I'm trying to make some notes, the seller's consent, well, the seller's consent form isn't active, it looks like it's just a straight PDF file. But there's one of the forms, it was a consumer guide agency relationships, I believe. And it's also, when you pull it up under the consumer guide agency relationship. There's a lengthy about dual, it doesn't say consumer guide agency, but it says something in addition to that.
Is it under the Greater Columbus listing form or which folder?
Yeah, it should be under Greater Columbus, or I mean, Keller Williams Greater Columbus, yeah.
Just all of the office forms.
Yeah, that's what I've run into, I've tried to, I mean. Rachel got them alphabetized, I was talking to her in November and she was, oh, here's an alphabet, you can alphabetize them now, so. I mean, there's things that we can. That we should at least ask for to try and get. As much or little time on DotLoop as possible.
Right.
Having to. Sort, update forms,
Yeah, just to keep them all up to date.
right, keep all the masters up to date, and that way we can just open it up. Import it into a new loop and go.
I think most of the updated forms are going to be on the Greater Columbus folders, and it does, take some time to go in through and just click the new updated ones, and copy it to, your templates under one of your own personal folders. And then if that form is no longer good, like you were saying, you have to go in through, delete it, add the new one on there, so it's just like a step process.
That's what we have an admin for.
For DotLoop in general for your compliance.
Yeah, I mean, just so, I mean, so that we have all current forms, and like I said, it'd be nice to set up a master list again for county to county or whatever, and just residential listing versus commercial listing. You know, and set up different packets so that we don't have to sort through a bunch of forms to try and make sure we have that we're compliant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it could be done. Yeah. I mean, there's. so
According to
many
DotLoop,
different
we can,
options.
because I'd asked DotLoop about it too, and they're like, well, that's your office doing that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, so maybe we need to,
Yeah, I could, who does the DotLoop here?
As far as updating forms, it'd be Rachel and Dayla
Okay,
and Mark.
I mean, I can help with that if you need to, so that way we can get, you know, what. As far as the Licking County forms, the Delaware County forms, what are different between the counties, if you don't mind me?
I don't know 100%. I'm just saying, I know that there was a conversation with Rachel was, well, we have, you know, different offices in different counties. Okay, well, then we should be able to try and gear those loops so that if it's county specific, we have county specific loop.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many different things that you could do with the folders and the templates and everything, you can make them more customizable for, you know. What county that you use or that you typically work in. I just find it easier to sometimes just to make my own personal folders and then just click all those documents that I need and then, you know. Kind of save it as a template earlier, like a lot of times a purchase contract doesn't have all the correct information on the bottom. It doesn't auto populate or auto fill, so you have to go through and change it and make adjustments every single time that you're making an offer. Well, I just kind of make my own template of the purchase contract with all the correct information on the bottom, so I just use that every time, so I'm not going through and filling it in every single time that I make it.
Makes perfect
make an
sense.
offer. And then, well, oh, what's I gonna go? Yeah, the command. I don't know if you guys go through the command. Log in. Gonna create your opportunity over here. Create an opportunity. Listing.
So are you going through your and connecting the transaction, start transaction, you connect to the loop?
You can go through that and kind of create your loop through command if your contact's already in there.
Right.
And then start it out that way, so if everything's already synced up.
So Megan's not teaching to that anymore. She wants them to do it separately. But there's still, if you guys are definitely ones that are used to doing it that way, that's fine,
Okay,
absolutely fine.
there's just many different ways to go around and get it started. I honestly never really prefer to do it this way. I've done it this way.
Oh, let's.
Okay.
Yes.
Everybody knows how to.
Yes. Mhm. That's why, Tiffany, because compliance checks everything in the loop. And not through command.
But you still have to add the opportunity in there.
Yes, you
because
do, you do.
Compliance.
Right.
So you can
I
always go
think it's
through,
easier to-
start a transaction through command. So I'll go through and delete it when I'm done. So you just have to make sure and have your loop and everything on your, I'm under Puma, so that's why it's hectic, but you can kind of create the transaction from command, go back to loop. Actually, after you created it, it'll give you a prompt to go to loop and from command. That's just another way to do it.
I think it's easier.
Yeah, because you already have it in there, sometimes, you know, you already have a past client in there, all the information's there, you already have their email, there's phone numbers. And everything like that. It's just another way to do that. And then obviously everybody knows. Once we merge with you guys over here, there were, a little bit of confusion on how to submit the file for compliance, so. Everybody goes to submit it for review from here. And that way they can go back and give. What's still signatures on it, what's still. Ready for closing, it's ready for, add all the, so you have to add, I'm not sure if we go through and we add the active MLS. PDF, then do we submit everything from, the closing, like it says commission check? So a lot of times those are wired for. Oh, let's see, compliance documents for submission. So the final Alta placement, commission check placement. And is that a requirement? I mean, it says optional on the side.
I don't think so.
Okay. Cause there are still a few things that I was, I need to double check.
If
And then-
anything, I usually just put, like, they send a wire or the title company will send that over. I usually just throw it in there during, and that, it doesn't have to be the check itself, just the form,
Okay,
So- just to cover everything.
So I just found this a little bit easier, once I start out, adding all the compliance docs to the folder after everyone's signed. You slide it down into the placeholder, and then submit that file for review. It's just how I've learned how to do it so far. I don't know if anybody, I mean, is that typically what everybody else does as far as the forms and DotLoop? Slide it down, and then do you move up, you can transfer folders, kind of move them?
So you take in the lower area, you take whatever is up in the compliance area and you move those up in those positions.
Yes. That's like the placeholder?
Yeah.
The actual folder itself?
Well, no, you would be taking individual items and putting them up at the placeholders position. You do that.
Yes.
Is that required?
I don't think it is,
I don't know.
cause I don't even,
I
whenever I started,
Yeah, take them.
I don't even click buyer or seller because I actually hate that it pops up with placeholders. So I don't even have them. And
So
it's
you
still.
just basically start a loop, just a blank loop by itself.
Correct, yeah, and then whenever the loop is created, I go in and click listing for sale, and then the placeholders don't all pop up.
Okay, does it just kind of look? Kind of
Too
messy,
much for me, yeah.
yeah.
As I get them in a compliance folder, I archive the placeholders. So that it like takes all of that away, and then once they're all gone, I just archive that folder and have the own like in contract submission.
Yeah.
So, I don't think there's a,
No, there's not a right or
Physical.
wrong. I guess really, but I just feel like some people have their own preference. Some people are the line, but-
Can I ask a question about the auto populate? So whenever I set up a loop, I go to view details. And then that's where I would right underneath the address. That's where I fill in all of the detail that I want auto populated. If you don't do that first, before you start dropping in documents or opening documents, then you won't get any of that auto populate. Is that true? Or did they change that?
What was the end of that question, Ann?
So when I create a loop, I go into those view details and I fill all that in, what information I want to auto-populate into my forms. If you don't do that first and you start downloading the documents into the loop and then you open the loop or you open the document, it will not automatically populate unless you have that in there first.
I think you're right.
correct.
You can
As
click
soon
the
as you
auto
open
fill.
Even if you've hit the autofill, it will not auto-populate it unless it's into the view details first, before you do anything else.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering if they've changed that, because I
don't
haven't
think that's the
seen,
Same way. The only thing that I think is a little bit, New to that is you can add, when you autofill or you're trying to assign some, like a lender or title rep, you can autofill that information again after you've already autofilled it. Like you can add that information in there. You can click autofill and then it'll highlight in yellow what you changed. As far as the new information that you clicked in as far as, give me an example. Download. Can add a person from here.
So on the support, through DotLoop, it says if you link it through the, like the details. But type in the address, it links it directly with the listing agent's loop, so it doesn't create multiple. On there,
Can you say that again?
um,
Like, use the MLS number?
so underneath the details, whenever you're doing, there's a spot to type in the address, which is kind of like what we're talking about, I guess, but actually linking directly to the list or the listing there. Instead of just typing in the information, it says that it links it directly to the listing agent's loop as well,
Okay,
instead of making multiple. So if you did that, then and you submitted it, then they shouldn't be submitting it back to a different loop as well.
well, that makes sense. So when you're starting a loop, you kind of copy the MLS number.
No, like right here, if you clicked on view details, which I know you might already have it, but scroll down. Keep going. Where the link of property, you might see already linked to a listing, which is, I'm not sure if this is yours or not, like you were saying, but if it wasn't yours and you would type in the address of the MLS number there. It's just not there because you already linked. So then it would send it directly to that loop with that listing agent, if you were talking about buyers.
I've never done it that way. But it
Well, it
makes
sounds like
sense
you're
to do it
linked
so that you would avoid the multiple loops. That would make sense.
So you're saying, James, if you have a listing
Yeah.
and
They
I'm,
can do loop real quick, sorry.
and I'm gonna be a buyer agent. And I come on and I start the,
You wanna try it?
a new one.
So just put your buyer's name or random name and act like it's the buyer, I guess. So then, I mean, you would still add people that you need there, but then if you scroll down. Right there where that search bar is, that other property that was your listing, I guess, type that property address in there. So then click on that, so it's linking directly to your listing loop.
Okay.
But say this isn't your dot loop, so then you import all the data and all that becomes filled out. So then now, so it looks like it took you directly to your other loop that we're in now. Because you have to top the name changed and everything.
Yeah,
So this is directly into your loop, but you obviously can't, like if you maybe go to, probably save and then back the loop. And see it, so I guess maybe because you're the listing agent as well. I guess we should probably try to do this with a person in here that has a listing that's not you. And then it looks like you could just put your document in and then submit it right to them.
oh,
Directly.
okay. Do we wanna try it? You
Yeah,
guys will listen to them.
sure.
Okay.
I mean, let's
Somebody
say-
else?
2257, Bridalwood.
Well, this would still just be a buyer's name test here.
You're not loading the template then from there?
No. I mean, you could, but I think that just for
for
whatever,
testing.
test purposes.
So then here, I mean, yeah, your details, or you can add people, that's what that is, that's fine, but then you can go down. And what was that other address?
2257. Bridal. BRIDA wood, one word.
So then, because I think even before you clicked on it, it's asked about linking, so it says you're linked now. So then, you you go up and click save. And then, do just the purchase contract with it.
So if you get multiple offers from multiple agents, how do you keep the multiple, the docs separate in one folder?
I think we're gonna find that out, I'm not sure.
They're probably their own.
I don't know, I feel like it's gonna be a different folder, so here. Yeah, so it's already there, but then go up to buyer one and just add a random person or whatever, to see. I just wanna, alright,
That had me,
it doesn't, I guess, yeah,
What's your last name?
Johnson.
so then,
That has the address,
right,
parcel number, you can add purchase price.
yeah. Cause everything else would still be auto-populated, so you'd fill everything out that you would be, advising your client to do. And then click autofill, for purposes, we don't need to do all of it, but then click save and share on this one. And then it's already has Sue there, so Sue, can you, pull up your DotLoop real quick? And then share it and see, what's it do on your end? Sorry, I kinda took over. I just been wanting to see this too. Like, does your DotLoop, did that come in on your current loop, or did it send you another loop?
No, they can do so many different things, I mean, it's just.
And if this works, how do we tell every single agent?
Anyway,
Cause then it would link all of it, and you wouldn't have duplicates or anything. But if you're a listing agent, you probably get, if agents that do this, it may go into your loop you already have, but you may also get separate loops that agents aren't doing. But I don't know that, that's what I'm trying to guess this out right now.
I think you're on to something
You are on something.
big time.
Cause I've
I'm
also
not
done
seeing
where
additional
I
loops.
copied the MLS number onto the new loop, and then it finds the listing agent and says it wants to import all the data. So even the documents sometimes have, that were associated with that listing.
Maybe it does it different spots, that's just where I know I've seen it. So I'm like, I have no clue.
But this would definitely help with the multiple loops issue.
I'm not seeing additional loop. come
So
through.
click on your, the loop you created for your listing. Is there anything from, Tiffany, is that right?
Yep.
Is there anything from Tiffany in your current loop that you have already?
Yep. There.
Okay, so then, will you,
See,
because then if you're doing the, when you're giving them edit and private abilities, or the one that they can make change, well, they can't make all changes because then it would delete signatures, but edit and private, they would just be able to copy it right there, fill it out, and send it right back to you in the same loop.
Yeah.
So we should test that too, I'm just checking.
I think that would be helpful for everybody, because I think it's so frustrating when it's like when you have multiple offers.
Tiffany came through as in her people.
Yeah, because,
She shared. And you and me. But what was your role in it?
Did you send anything
Didn't know.
She's.
Okay, so that's
You would have
contract.
But then now you can probably even look, or
Oh,
well,
this is your
even
document.
other loops, you can see if they've
So
used
you
it.
go
also.
look at your activity
Go
log.
from the
Yeah.
beginning. So this is the correct address.
Yeah, it's not.
This is my listing. Okay, that's not it.
I mean, everything's always
Just one
timestamped
so
also.
far.
I know everybody knew that, anyways. You can just go back and check and see if someone viewed the document. Or when someone signed the document.
What am I doing? Okay, so. Here. So this is somebody else offers, so it's have nothing to do with it today.
Tiffany, do you know what's on the beta version?
Scroll down,
The beta version, like Command 2.0,
two, yes.
Probably,
that's what I mean, DotLoop 2.0.
well,
Because I know that there's a new one, the new beta version that's out. I'm not 100% sure what's on that one. I just know it's gonna be a little bit.
How many should
easier
she
to
have?
interact. No, we don't, but it's still kind of.
I didn't work sorry for this one.
I think, I was doing a little bit of research before the class.
I wonder-
I was looking into it, but I don't think it will
So
be
this is
all
the
the agent that.
Yeah, my previous brokerage was using beta.
It's not, there's.
I just think,
Well, what do you mean with it?
with
The
the beta version, it might be
This is it.
cost thing
She did
too, so
offer
I'm not
what,
sure.
350, she in there, right?
So where did, go back real quick to see, where did it come
It's a
in?
folder on the very bottom.
It is in my, it is.
So it is in the same loop?
Yeah, same loop, it created its own folder, correct?
Yeah, it didn't name
Yes.
the folder, it's all the way to someone else.
It created its own folder with what you said,
Folder,
It's on the,
purchase.
yeah, on name.
but then now
Yeah, it's
can
right here.
you try to click on it and then make a copy? Or edit in private, however you want, just act like you're gonna have your
Okay,
seller sign this agreement.
okay.
So
So
not
open first to make sure. this is-
Yeah, look at you initial and everything.
So rename the folder, so it would be.
Yeah, you can
like,
rename it,
So what you want me to do?
so,
Rename
Did you name the
Um,
folder? You sent it over?
Copy it.
I could,
well, did you have the
I'm gonna
Tiffany
read the-
Sahr?
I just updated that.
So I have a feeling if you, whatever you name it there, it's probably what showed up here.
Yes.
So can you do add a folder? And then, name it test. And just add a random document into it, it doesn't matter. And then just send it to Sue. So I'm checking to see if this is gonna start a new folder and name test. So you might have to go back out and then back in or refresh the page.
Then you can move document
Scroll,
to folder.
scroll down there,
Have you sent it yet?
scroll again.
She sent it?
So yeah, folder came over name
Yeah,
test on this
it did.
side.
Okay,
So then can you click this button and make a copy to it?
Usually I go. in.
Okay, that's fine,
When you click here, you go out on top, right?
however you feel comfortable,
Make a copy,
yeah.
Why are you making a copy?
because it's already in this loop though.
How are you adding signatures to it then? I guess I'm just curious on that, because if you add a signature to it now, it'll. If the buyer's agent didn't give you editable access, if you did, it would eliminate the signatures. But if they
Yeah,
let you
yeah,
edit in
I get
private,
what
you
you're
just
saying.
make a copy.
We put it in
You
as a
can
PDF.
download
and
it.
have it.
Got it,
Pam
Yes.
wasn't signed on that, so that's why I was like, wait a minute.
right, because we, yeah, it definitely isn't fully filled out.
Where's the name of document you just used? It's called test.
you can add
Oh, no, I mean,
the document
the
like
actual form.
downloading also. Because I think when you make a copy, it copies the signatures too.
Yeah.
And then
Well, that's
the
what you want,
signatures will
right?
erase, so you don't want to
Additional
erase the
steps.
signatures on the first one, I think you wanna download it as a PDF. And then add the signatures to it.
Right,
I mean, there would be extra steps, but
yeah, because once you get the, make it or edit in private from the buyer's agent, like when you shared it, then they can. Basically, it just copies over, so then they can add their seller's signature
Not
spots
manually. edit.
without making, because then it only gets flat signatures.
Yeah, she shared,
right? Am I-
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just making.
So
Yeah.
creating
Um,
loops is just creating.
Yeah.
And then I'm wondering if that happens, so then if she sends it back, if maybe we'll come right back to that same folder. That you sent it over, I don't know.
This is agreement.
It should go back.
Just a
You wanna
thought.
try to send it back with the same folder?
I think it worked.
So do you wanna share it back to her?
Here, which I've, the both of you. Came over. What was your question?
Oh, I didn't know if you wanna send something back,
Oh.
so we can kind of see if there was something like
Or
that.
you could just add another random document to that folder, it doesn't have to be that same one. It's just testing.
Okay.
What other questions that you guys have?
Okay, we're gonna add it.
With doing it this way, are you getting alerts that it's,
Okay, which one?
I guess.
That would be the one.
cause like, is she getting an alert?
Oh, I mean, like the
This is blank folder.
notification.
Right.
Yeah, cause if you're a listing agent, are you gonna be super savvy and know that this is an option?
Shoot.
And
Well,
so like,
I
as
feel like, you look on my email, but I think you would get the email notification.
Like if
Like, someone so- left yeah.
it. Is that the alert I'm about, or?
yeah, just to know that it's there, because most people, like, if I say, hey, Jamie, I sent you an offer, you're gonna go into DotLoop, you're gonna look for an additional loop. I don't see it anywhere.
Or
I
activity.
just share to see if it goes through.
And then I'm gonna have to be like, go into your loop,
I mean, I guess it's
look at
probably.
the bottom, even
Notification
though, like,
preference.
that's what I was
Because
wondering.
anybody that shares anything with me, I mean, it's gonna push notification on my phone, but then I know best practices to call that agent and confirm that they received it, but
Yes.
not everybody does it, but
Yes.
I know. but-
You can manage your notifications too.
So she sent that over.
Okay, so,
You do get a notification.
yeah,
Mhm.
so back over and then in that loop, this was your buyer's loop that you initially set up.
So here
So
is that
then
referral agreement.
She sent you something back in a different folder.
So we just eliminated
Yeah,
extra loops. Awesome.
That's
You
awesome.
can only do it as buyers.
yeah, they need to link with the listing agent's loops and then
That's what I'm saying.
create a folder, name that folder, whatever your name is and maybe your client's name. And then submit that off, that folder to the listing agent. Cause you could just click on share the folder instead of the individual documents. Alright.
Oh, you're fine. So I can come up with like a how-to on what we just did, and then that way we can share it. On the next monthly meeting, ours is tomorrow. I don't know if you guys have one tomorrow as well.
We do.
I probably won't have it done by tomorrow, but maybe the next month. I
Have you ever used Scribe?
Scrub?
Scribe?
No, I have not.
If you use it, you just pretty much click play and then you go through what you would do and it watches you and
Oh,
then.
like,
Yeah.
no, it's the same,
Okay,
kind of the same thing. But yeah, we can do something like that and get it together. Share it with everybody. That'll avoid a lot of frustration with multiple loops and offers and. I don't wanna archive it. I don't wanna lose any information. I don't wanna, lose my loop and not be able to find it, and go back to get the right document or have to input the information multiple different times.
And then I think best practices is if you unfortunately have to like terminate or something, then you just start a new loop. Because then you'd have to do that again with the next listing.
Right. Or the next buyer, like if they don't go in contract, just start a new loop with the new, the address, and then you can copy over all of their buyer exclusive. Already know. Rec form,
And yeah, you can just move it. to
burgers,
different-
fries, ham. Fill up. Copy to loop, put it in my test loop. Test folder. Go back. And there they are. You're not having to re-sign it. If you can't find a document, you can't remember, how long ago they were. Working for, how long ago you had written the offer. But anyways, that is pretty much sums up what I was gonna go over today, and I'm glad we learned something new.
Yeah.
I did not know that, sometimes, get in and learn something new. Exciting, very exciting. Good. You guys have any other questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You are welcome.